Good morning and welcome to VSA Capital 5 Minute Morning Miner. It's a very wet Thursday, the 3rd of November. Actually, it's not just the rain. I can tell you the size of the puddles on the roads today was extraordinary. Yes, I cycled to work and got soaked. How are you, Paul?
I'm fine. I haven't cycled to work and got soaked, but it is pretty soggy over here.
The puddles were extraordinary. Anyway, we're not on that. We're actually going to go back and we're going to talk a lot more about lithium. This is becoming a lithium podcast. It's not. It's a 5 Minute Morning Miner. But I mean, there were a couple of things that have really caught my eye this morning on lithium. The first is that Canada is actually basically telling the Chinese where to go, isn't it, with three of their lithium mines. Do you want to just explain that one, Paul?
Yes, Canada has done a security evaluation of various dealings of in the lithium sector, upstream lithium sector, and has decided that it's asking three different Chinese companies in order to divest their interests in specific companies and projects. They did say that this doesn't mean it's a blanket thing as far as companies or as far as China is concerned, but they also wouldn't say what the issues were that were causing them to ask them to divest those investments due to national security grounds. But the companies involved are Power Metals, Ultra Lithium, and Lithium Chile. And the Chinese firms are Sino Mines, Changsha Lithium, and Zhanji Mining Investment. So I suspect what it is probably it's some kind of technology or disclosure risk in connection with military tech or contracts, or by chance where the company has a cyber access connection into Canadian government systems. And the USA and the UK also have similar sorts of national security concerns concerning this.
Well, we do have national security concerns. The trouble in the UK is our government does absolutely bugger all. And we are in a Cold War too. Those that only listen to the 5 Minute Morning Miner don't hear my other commentaries, and I've been saying this for some time. Actually, you know, when you look at something like this and you look at Cornwall and you see all the critical metals we have down there, why hasn't our government stepped in and said, you know what, we've got to keep this for the British and we've got to make sure it happens? Eventually they might, and if they don't, maybe the Americans will. We do know that the American Defense Department has been down to Tungsten West. They are looking to refill their tungsten stockpile, and obviously that is a very natural source for them to get it from. But back on lithium, and by the way, the lithium carbonate price is still going up every day this week. It's getting higher and higher. One of our clients, it is on the TSX, but American Lithium, a client of VSA Capital. Paul, they had quarterly results today, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Some of the key point there is that they had an operating loss for the period of 10.7 million, 3-month period to the end of August. Cash retained at period end was 42.3 million. Otherwise, just a summary of a lot of the press releases that they had issued in the past 3 months, although I did want to say, too, that they have reached a negotiated settlement with the Ontario Securities Commission concerning dealings of Plateau Energy prior to its absorption into American Lithium a little while ago, which brought that Falciani project into American Lithium. And Plateau and executives have agreed to pay administrative penalties of $750,000 plus the court costs of $300,000 of the Ontario Securities Commission. But it does put the litigation or regulatory activity behind them at this point.
Yeah, they'll actually be over towards the end of this month, I think. So if anybody wants to see them, do let us know. It is a very large company. It's sort of $1 billion company. So it's actually pretty interesting, even though it's on the TSX, to hear what's going on. Okay, that's quite a lot of lithium talk as usual. I want to just briefly mention Farfetch because they've run into a few problems, haven't they, Paul?
Yes, they have. They've been trying now for at least 6 months in order to make arrangement to recapitalize the operating subsidiary, Marilla SA, for the Marilla Gold Mine in Mali. But they admit today that they have been unsuccessful in getting terms that they would find acceptable to the board and shareholders. So they've decided they will give up and write the parent company interest in Marilla SA down to nil. As a result, they suspect that that operating subsidiary will file for insolvency. And the parent company then also mentions that it's looking for a new business focus at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Now, just very quickly, it may be worth commenting upon ASX listed Lepidico. They're actually more of a technology firm in a way for accessing the lithium out of the micas. But it's obviously one that Cornish Lithium, they have the rights to the Lepidico technology over the English China clay pits owned by Imerys, if Imerys decided to use them. What have they said today, Paul? Well, they've had a placing, haven't they?
Yes, they've had a placing and a very successful one at that, heavily oversubscribed, such that they had to ratchet back the participants on that placing. And they've also sent out an amended prospectus too, in order to raise a further top up of 7.3 million, in order to bring the total between the two fundings of $19 million. And this money will go toward the further design engineering work on the Abu Dhabi treatment facility for converting lithium mica into lithium chemicals, and as well as get the stage 2 EPCM work underway on the Caribbean mine for its phase 2 expansion plans, the Caribbean mine being down in Namibia.
Okay, also just worth mentioning that Sierra Madre on the TSX, which is again is a client of VSA Capital, they've just slightly, they're just amending the terms slightly, aren't they, between a deal between them and First Majestic, aren't they, Paul, down in Mexico?
Yes, that's right. Sierra Madre buying a mine from First Majestic, and it looks like there's some delay on getting some consents from the Mexican government, which is causing a issue with the agreed terms of the deal as it was announced. So they've put a statement out today that says, as previously, it was intended that the 2% NSR to First Majestic on the mine would be issued concurrently with the closing of the acquisition, because the contingency is based on gaining the Mexico permissions, but those seem to be delayed. So they will go ahead and issue the 2% NSR terms now and append yet for the permissions.
All right, we'll call it a day there, Paul. So we'll speak again tomorrow.
Very good. See you then.